There has been some huge upgrades regarding the regulations for 2027 and 2028. But there is a lot more we got to know about the ADUO results and how Pierre Gasly might have been unfairly penalized. There is plenty of stuff to talk about before we get into the weekend. So here is the Barcelona-Catalunya weekend preview. Welcome back to the channel, folks. We just have back-to-back races this weekend, and then over the next 5 to 6 races, they're all pretty close to each other as well. Formula One is definitely going through an interesting period of weird decisions, updates outside of the track. The biggest surprise for me was how interesting Monaco ended up being, right? Well, at least not the whole weekend, at least the last 20 laps. The race had so many decisions, incidents. It had triggered so many conversations, specifically along the lines of FIA's integrity and decision making. We should start off today with Alpine and Monaco penalties because they are definitely being reviewed again. So this review system in Formula One works like this, right? Any team can protest against any decision made by the FIA, and the FIA is obligated to take that right to review seriously if the team can provide genuine data that the FIA has not considered before, or if they have some new data that show a different result. Looks like Alpine have submitted some damning evidence successfully, so definitely the Pierre Gasly demoting from podium, that incident is being investigated again. We are expecting a verdict anytime this weekend. But here is the thing. What can the new verdict do, right? Are they going to reverse the decision for just Pierre Gasly? If it is the problem of the measurement of the pit lane speeds is only with Pierre Gasly, then we can say yes, the result can be easily reversed. But the FIA have used the same measurement for every other driver, right? So what about the rest of the grid? So what about George Russell? Not only did he get his race ruined, he lost quite a bit of confidence in his team and his advantage on the championship. His penalty was served in the race, not after the race like Pierre Gasly. So he cannot unserve his penalty now, right? For Gasly, at least you can reverse the 5 seconds that was added. But what about George? Any decisions that the FIA make this weekend about this specific penalty is going to bring in a lot more controversy. Again, there is no correct way to doing this. So my guess is they might not make any decision and stick to the exact result as it is. Okay, I'm at work and I'm literally editing this video, and the news just dropped. Pierre Gasly has been promoted to P3. Yeah, that's just gonna raise a lot more questions. A lot of teams are gonna protest. They're gonna ask the FIA the reasoning. And I think the time for protesting the results is also over. So even if other teams do something, I don't think they'll get a decent result. I think genuinely cheers to Alpine for sticking through Pierre Gasly and putting a pressure on FIA to reconsider the penalty. So looks like Max Verstappen's bullying worked. The FIA are scared of Max Verstappen Mafia. Listen, I don't want to make it sound like the FIA cared about one driver and made these changes. I think every driver had shared the same opinions, and Max was the one who has been vocal about it since 2023. So yeah, the 50-50 split is gradually going to go to 60-40 by the next couple of years. So that's the update we got. Currently, we are technically at 53-47 energy split between internal combustion engine and the batteries. The plan is to go to 58-42 next year and 60-40 the year after. And by changing the ratio a bit, they are trying to make the drivers also happy and the audience like us also happy. So have you ever tried cooking? Like, let's say if you're making some kind of a curry, and in the curry you add an extra amount of salt. Actually, you've overdone the salt. Now you cannot taste the spices. When you take a sip, you only taste the salt. So what do? You add every other ingredient back to make sure the salt level is balanced and in correct proportion with the overall curry, right? You might add some water, you might add a bit of curd, I don't know, right? That's exactly what the FIA has been doing, because they've put in a little too much of the battery. Now, to make that battery capacity make sense, they are increasing the internal combustion engine output. So if the output of the ICE is changing, does that mean every team has to rework the engine itself? Not necessarily. Basically, the way you are getting a little more power from the internal combustion engine is by increasing the fuel flow rate. So when more fuel goes into the combustion engine at a given time, the more it burns and the more energy it produces. So there is an increase of 5% in the fuel flow rate next year and another 13% increase for 2028. And that would mean a bigger fuel tank and a 15% increase in the weight of the fuel. So all of these changes are proposed for a vote to the World Motorsport Council, and we are expecting a decision in the next couple of weeks. We were just speaking about Max's threats to leave the sport if he doesn't like the direction in which the regulations are going. And with an increase of the popularity of the Nürburgring 24-hour race by Max just being there, I think FIA would have gotten the picture. Not that Max is a one-man army and can control the media. No, one driver is not bigger than the sport. But there is a genuine interest in pure internal combustion engine cars on track with some raw, unassisted racing. So then what has happened this week? So Max and his manager Raymond Vermeulen, who runs Verstappen's management team along with his dad, they were all spotted at the Red Bull headquarters in Austria. Now, who attended this meeting is as important as who didn't. Notably, Oliver Minslav, he is the managing director and the CEO of Red Bull's corporate partnerships and all. So he was not there, along with Lauren Mickes. Who else was there? Dr. Helmut Marko was there. Dimitri Masicic's son, Masicic Jr. was there. Red Bull's lawyers were there. So this was a very serious meeting that was beyond the Formula One racing team. This felt more like a contract discussion, and this meeting happened on the same day when the FIA released the new updated regulations for 27-28. There was one more interesting development too. Jos Verstappen and Toto were seen within 2 kilometers of each other. So both of them were in the Netherlands, and I found this conspiracy theory a little bit funny but also slightly more legit because see, with back-to-back races, Monaco and Barcelona, Toto is expected to be in Barcelona. Toto has no reason to be in Netherlands, which is the home country of Jos and Max Verstappen. I do believe that they may have met up and may have had some decisions about Max's future. Maybe it could have been just a fuss. You know, Max may have relooked at the contract and signed to continue with Red Bull, and they met Toto to say sorry that he won't be joining Mercedes politely. You never know what actually happened. You don't want to sever any relationships if things don't go well at Red Bull. But the last time a meeting like this happened, Christian Horner got fired. So we can definitely expect some interesting updates about Max's future in the next few weeks. While we wait for a surprise update from Max, there was an update that surprised Max, which was the FIA had shared with the teams that the Red Bull internal combustion engine is the benchmark. And clearly not just Max, all of us did not expect it after the first 6 races. How can a team that has won 6 of the 6 races till now be 2 to 4% behind the benchmark, which is Red Bull, who have been struggling to do anything? They are P4 in the Constructors' Championship, not even in the top 3. So Red Bull believes that they are screwed over for the sake of being good on paper. Not even the whole power unit, just the internal combustion engine. And now, before we start to criticize the rules and the system, let's understand what's happening behind the scenes. Let's understand how this rule even came to be, and then let's criticize, okay? Why only internal combustion is being measured for the benchmark? That's because the FIA offered to measure the whole power unit, but the teams debated and voted against it. So it is on the team's side as well. Now, Red Bull's ICE may be powerful, but as a whole package, overall reliability and everything considered, they are not the best on the grid. So why did they not feature this into the calculation? Well, the understanding is that reliability issues can always be fixed if given enough time. So when you think about it, these rules were written in such a way that whoever gets labeled the benchmark were always going to be at the disadvantage. What was surprising was the fact that Red Bull were the benchmarkers. There were some updates online that mentioned that Mercedes willingly sacrificed some of its power in the ICE to get a balanced overall package. And what is even more surprising is Ferrari is at least 4% off of Red Bull. Yes, that's the same Ferrari whose founder once said aerodynamics is for people who can't design a decent engine. As of today, Red Bull has asked FIA to revisit the rules and double check everything. The FIA has promised to go back and double check all the data, but I don't think there is going to be any mistakes or changes here. If you thought these rules were unfair, FIA did have provisions to make sure this rule does not get abused, the ADUO rules get applied again every 6 weeks. So in the next 6 races, if the Red Bull powertrains fall behind, they will definitely get a chance to upgrade too. So this is an ongoing rule. Mercedes may have some hidden power at the moment, but at some point they have to unleash it, especially when other teams start catching up and bringing in upgrades. As much as we like to criticize the FIA, I think they did consider this kind of a loophole that could be used by the teams, and they have accounted for it in the regulations and the system. So at this point, we just have to wait and see which team brings in the upgrade first, and if the ADUO system and the engine upgrades that they bring actually work and get the racing much more exciting and closer together. So the Leclerc and Brembo fight has been heating up, and it is no longer just a rumor, and it has been confirmed by multiple sources. Lewis Hamilton has been using carbon industry brake discs for a while now in the season, and his performance has significantly improved. So after the crash at the Principality, Leclerc has also decided to give carbon industries a go. Just to be clear, they are not fully moving away from Brembo. Brembo still supplies other parts to Ferrari like calipers, brake master cylinders, braking systems, suspension solutions, all of that, right? See, brakes always have been a driver preference. If I'm not wrong, Max Verstappen has also experimented with both Brembo and carbon industry brake discs. But the fact is, Charles Leclerc openly criticized the brakes, and Brembo had to come up with the explanation publicly and defend themselves. The only reason these things happen is because the relationship is getting strained over there. So now that Leclerc is going to be using the same brakes as Lewis Hamilton, let's see if he has the talent to match the 7-time world champion in equal machinery, and let's see if he deserves the title of the first driver of Ferrari. Okay, lately Lewis has developed a habit of deeply checking out backsides. Okay, his choices and the way he has been conducting himself has clearly shown us that he pays a lot of attention to the behind. Just look at this picture. Man is deep in thought looking at the beauty of that backend. The same backend when Ferrari developed, the FIA called it illegal, but somehow Mercedes is sporting the same diffuser. There are reports saying that Ferrari will protest the rear diffuser of Mercedes. There are some other upgrades also coming to Barcelona. Ferrari, Alpine and McLaren, they've all spotted bringing new front wings to the track. Not sure if they will use it. We'll have to wait for the official documents from the FIA to see what kind of upgrades actually go on the car. But what I find interesting is Red Bull's updates. They have made some significant changes for Monaco, and we never got to see the full potential in the race. In qualifying, it seemed to have served well for both the Red Bull cars because both of them were in the top 5. Max has said that Barcelona is where they will find out eventually whether the upgrades were in the right direction or not. One final update that was released this week was also that Pirelli has extended their contract till 2028 to be the sole tire supplier for Formula 1. Barcelona being a track where literally the shakedown happened a few months back, the teams will have good amount of data, past data nonetheless, but good data, and they can compare how much they have improved from like 3-4 months ago till now. And definitely this will be a good quarterly review kind of a thing to see if their cars are progressing in the right direction. On a slightly sadder news, Fernando Alonso has mentioned that this might be his last time racing in Catalonia. While this sentence definitely sounds like an incoming retirement announcement, it is not that simple. See, Spain has another track that is being commissioned called Madrid. The rivalry between Barcelona and Madrid seems to continue off the football pitch as well. If the football was any indication, Barcelona track will be a lot more cohesive and easy to pass, where Madrid ring will be just a fight club with drivers punching each other and one driver who tries to be selfish all the time. But truth aside, yes, Madrid this year will be considered going forward the Spanish GP, and Barcelona-Catalunya will be considered as Barcelona-Catalunya as a separate race. And the Catalunya track will be on the Formula 1 calendar on alternate years. So why does Spain need 2 tracks to be on the calendar? How did Madrid become one of the permanent facilities? I'm sure the Madrid fans would have gone and said, 15 Champions League titles as an excuse to win the argument. But I am digressing. Let's get back to the point. While this year Catalonia is on the calendar, next year it is not. So Alonso saying that this might be the last time that he will race in Catalonia might mean he's retiring either this year or the next year. So don't read too much into that statement. But how much back pain can one man endure just to get 1 point after 30% of the grid DNF'd and got penalties? Okay, with the silly season just about to begin and plenty of drivers have their contracts expiring and they're looking at other teams and options, there will also be some room for rookies to join the grid. So for a rookie to join a Formula One team, they need to have done at least 2 testing sessions in an F1 car in a practice session before. So all teams also are expected to have 4 rookie FP1 sessions every year, 2 for each driver. So this weekend we have quite a few F2 drivers getting the call to do free practice tests. We'll also see how they fare, if there are any interesting moments, interesting names that pop up. Last week, your boy got 1 out of the 5 predictions right. So let's see if we can have that terrible streak continuing. Here are my predictions for the Barcelona-Catalunya GP. First prediction, Max will have a horrible weekend. His car will be somewhere in 6 to 10 in qualifying and he will probably finish between 6 to 10 only. I think Red Bull will just perform bad just to prove a point that the ADUO rules are rubbish. Second prediction, Ferrari will be on the podium. In fact, I predict 3 different teams will be on the podium. Third prediction is Kimi will not win 6 races in a row. He just won't. He might be on the podium, but he is not winning Barcelona. Fourth prediction, Williams will finally get into Q3. As per James Vowles, they have been removing a little bit of weight every update that they bring in, and I think they have done at least 10 to 12 kgs of weight removal over the last few races. So I'm hoping that Williams are back in Q3. Let's wait and see again. And my fifth prediction is Arvid Lindblad in points. Again, if you are forgetting why I'm a huge supporter of Arvid Lindblad, I'll tell you why I am and why you should also. Remember when I met him, I gifted him a t-shirt with all your well wishes written on it. So yeah, right, you have wished him well and he's gonna do it. He's gonna send it. Okay, thank you so much for watching till now. Subscribe to see how well my predictions go. The next video will probably be the weekend review on Monday, so stay tuned. Okay, see you, bye.